9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have celebration of the African Day of Civil Studies. For the international scene, Joe Biden ratified the accessions of Sweden and Finland in NATO. Welcome to our newsroom. The Republic of Djibouti, following the example of the African community, celebrated today the ceremony of the 5th African Day of Civil Studies at Kempinski Palace. The main objective is to call on all actors to pool their efforts in order to meet the main challenges of the civil registration system, especially in terms of security, accessibility for all, simplification and facilitation of civil registration procedure, as well as the productions of the civil registration data. Organized by the Ministry of Decentralization in collaboration with the UNFPA, the event was attended by the Minister of Decentralization, Mr. Qasim Harun Ali, the Minister of Environment, Muhammad Abdul Qadir Musa, the Minister of Trade, Muhammad Warsama, the Minister of Energy, Yunus Ali Gedi, the Minister of Waqf, Momin Hassan Barre, the President of the 5 regional councils, the Mayor of the city, and various personalities. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Interior, Mr. Siraj Umar Abdul Qadir, has indicated in his speech that the 3 acts of civil studies are birth, marriage, and death. Now, we have to ask the questions of who manages this competence. This competence is managed by the local elected officials. There was a decree in 2007 which delegated a certain number of competence to the local elected officials. For his part, the Minister of Decentralization, Mr. Qasim Harun Ali, has indicated that this day is celebrated in Djibouti as well as throughout the African continent, with the main objective of calling on all stakeholders to pool their effort in order to meet the main challenges of the civil registry system, particularly with regard to sectarianization, accessibility for all, and the simplification and facilitation of the state registration procedure. Within the framework of the missions of the Minister of Trade and Tourism in Egypt, the Minister as well as the Ambassador of the Republic of Djibouti and all the members of the delegations were able to appreciate the Egyptian device setup for the control of exports and imports of goods entering Egypt through the airport of the Arab Republic of Egypt. They have, on the occasions of the visit of National Institute of Export Control, could appreciate the human, material, and financial means mobilized for the protections of the Egyptian consumer on the one hand, and the image of Egypt in the world through the exports made in Egypt. We visited the Department of the General Authority of Control of Exhibitions and Import. This is the very important department that controls all the products that are imported as well as exported. START standards and quality agency. There are more and more branches in the intra-bound of the country, control institutions that checks and examines all products that transit through the international airport of Egypt. Indeed, are controlled all products, food, fruit and vegetables, food, just fruit, yogurt, and household equipment, store, freezer, spare parts, engines, all goods, solid or not, durable or not. To this end, the operators were able to discuss with the companies exporting gypsum, marble, aluminium, cement, and concrete iron, sanitary, waterproof coating. This meeting will allow our market to be able to provide itself with quality product, defying all competitions, and thus allow our operator to overcome the existing shortage in the construction sector. The Djibouti Port and Free Zone Authority participated in the 25th International Trade Fair 2022, which started in Kigali, Rwanda on July 26th. APZFD was represented by Mr. Hassan Roble Mahmoud, Chargé d'Affaires of Djibouti in South Sudan, and Mr. Mahmoud Hussein Diriye, Deputy Directors of General of Djibouti International Free Trade Zone. On the sidelines of their participation in this international fair, the representative of the DIFTZ had met with the Minister of Trade and Industry of Rwanda, the Honorable Dr. John Chrysostom, and the President of the Private Sector Federation is Robert Bafakulera, as well as the CEO of Rwandair, the Director of General of the Rwanda Airport and the Rwandan Business Community.
We serve most of the city in Africa. We already serve in Nigeria, Ghana, and South Africa, and Uganda, and Ethiopia, and some others.
In the continuity of the presentation of the project of support to the engagement of civil society in the local development process in the 5 regions, the implementing agency, the Kaizen Company, which is piloting this project, funded by USAID, organized in the room of the Regional Council of Tajura, a workshop to present the results of the co-creation workshop that took place in May at Sheraton Hotel, and the annual implementation plan of the project to the associations. The workshop was attended by the Deputy Prefect of the Tajura region, Mr. Habib Jilani, the Secretary General of the Regional Council, Mr. Roble Mohammed. The local authorities did not fail to thank the technical team of the project, which crisscrosses the 5 regions of interior. And in the visions of Djibouti 2035, citizen participation remains an essential element in the prospect of strengthening the provisions of services to the population. USAID is the financial partners of several projects in Djibouti. This new project, funded by the American people through its International Development Agency, USAID, this project will help strengthen the partnership between the Republic of Djibouti and the United States of America. As part of the deployment of a contingent of gendarmes on the peacekeeping missions under the aegis of the United Nations in the Central African Republic, the Gendarmerie Nationale moved all the major materials and equipment of its first police unit in a convoy last week from the Sheikh Moussa training center to the port of Dorale DMP. As such, more than 50 light and heavy vehicles, about 13 containers, have moved from the training center of the Gendarmerie under good escorts of the means mobilized by the Road Safety Squadron and Territorial Brigades. This cargo will first dock in Cameroon and then be transported to the Central African Republic. The Chief of Staff of the National Gendarmerie, Colonel Zakaria Hassan Adan, takes this opportunity to express on his own behalf, on behalf of the National Gendarmerie, his deep gratitude to His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic and Supreme Chief of the Armed Forces, for his precious support in this eminent project and his confidence in the institution's full ability to participate in a peacekeeping mission. The CMN also addresses his most sincere thanks to His Excellency Hassan Omar Mohamed Burhan, the Minister of Defense, for the invaluable support he has given to the Gendarmerie in the realizations of this important project. Finally, Colonel Zakaria Hassan Adan does not forget to thank our ambassador to the United States of America, Mohammed Ziad Douale, who has contributed greatly to the realizations of this deployment. As part of the coastal surveillance patrol, the Djibouti Coast Guard teams stationed at Arta Plage intercepted illegal migrants carrying narcotics products on Tuesday, July 9, 2022. Thus, 4 migrants of Ethiopian origin carrying a total of 10 bags of narcotic specifically hashish, were arrested during this operation. Their objective was to take the sea to go to Yemen. The migrants were arrested and the drugs were seized before being transferred to Djibouti for investigation. The investigation was entrusted to the Djibouti Coast Guard's Brigade of Researches, Investigation and Judicial Affairs in order to bring the perpetrators to this trafficking to justice. This operator is a new testimony of the commitment and vigilance of the Djiboutian Coast Guard in the fight against the proliferation of drug trafficking, who causes the serious negative impact on society. For his part, the commander of the research brigade of the Coast Guard said that this operation is a new testimony of the commitment and vigilance of the Djiboutian Coast Guard in the fight against the proliferation of drug trafficking that have a serious negative impact on society. For the international scene, Antonio Guterres calls for investigation after killing of 3 Palestinians by Israeli army. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called for calm and investigation after the killing of the 3 Palestinians by Israeli occupation forces in Nablus in the northern West Bank. On Tuesday, this was according to a press conference held by the Secretary General's spokesman, Stefan Dujarric, at the United Nations Permanent Headquarters in New York on Tuesday. Earlier Tuesday, the Israeli occupation said it had launched an operation to liquidate wanted activist Ibrahim al-Nabulsi, suspected of committing several shootings against civilians and soldiers of patrols and around Nablus, including shootings against the Joseph Stamb compound. For its part, the Palestinian Ministry of Health said that 3 Palestinians were killed and 14 others injured by the Israeli army. The NATO, Joe Biden ratified Sweden and Finland's membership. The NATO accession process of Sweden and Finland continues with the ratification of the treaty by the U.S. President Joe Biden on Tuesday. The U.S. became the 23rd countries to approve the expansion of the alliance. Biden said he met with the head of the state of both countries before signing the ratification and urged other NATO members to complete this ratification quickly. The consent of all of its 13 current members before Finland and Sweden can formally join, which is expected to happen in the coming months. This is one of the fastest expansions of the Mutual Defense Pact between the U.S. and the democratic allies in Europe. And to close up this edition, Climate July 2022, on one of the hottest months ever recorded in the world. The past month of July had some of the warmest temperature on record in many parts of the world. The World Organization said that Tuesday in a statement. According to the WMO, temperatures for July were close to 0.4 degrees above the 1991-2022 average in much of Europe, based on data from the European Commission's Copernicus Services on Climate Change. This institution confirmed that Europe experienced its 6th warmest July. According to the WMO, Portugal, Western France, Ireland broke heat records, while England recorded a temperature of up 14 degrees for the first time in its history. The national record for daily maximum temperature were also broken in Wales, Scotland, Spain. Hottest month on record in July, with a national average temperature of 25.6 degrees. At the same time, for the Horn of Africa to southern India and over much of Central Asia to most of Australian temperature were below average. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.